Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Powerful, inspiring, and coming to you live, bringing you stories of people like you and me, busting through and living life full out. Get ready to dare to wonder what your life would be like if you knew you could not fail. Welcome, everyone. I want to welcome you to the Dr. Pat Show. This is Talk Radio to Thrive By, and I want to welcome back all of you that were listening to the previous hour of the show. For more information about us, and if those of you out there want to listen to as many hours of the Dr. Pat Show or Transformation Talk Radio that you want to, just go to either website, drpatlive.com, transformationtalkradio.com. And kick it up. And, we were talking about what it means to step into a place of passion, purpose, power, destiny, whatever the language is. John DeMartini made it really clear about this idea of passion and how it's different than destiny or how it's different than inspiration. The question is really, what do you got going on in your life? I mean, who shows up every day? I really had to look at this for myself, and I shared a little bit about this in the last show. I had to look at who am I and still look at it. I look at it every day, but I'm really interested in hearing my friend and colleague, Dr. Friedemann, talk about it with me today. Who is this? And honestly, I have to make a confession to him. I did a show the other day, maybe a week ago or so, and I pretty much dissed the whole authentic word.
Wow. Oh, where are you? Oh, you're on this one. Sorry about that. Wrong microphone.
Okay. Wow.
He moved. Sorry. He moved on me.
So you get to straighten me out in the show, and I'll tell you why. Because, but not now. As we go on through the show. And honestly, this is the example I gave, and then I'm going to introduce you, because I have to introduce you to who Dr. Friedemann is. A lot of you know who he is. You listen to the show. Every time I upload in iTunes, it's like the most popular iTunes up there. Okay. So what I said is, and this was me talking to me one day, because I was having a moment in my life, Dr. Friedemann. So the moment I had was, you know what? Who is my authentic self? And I was giving an example of when I was back in New Jersey. And every day from Linda's mom's house to her house, we drive by the Dunkin' Donuts. Every day. If we're driving this way, we're driving this way. So my authentic self would have stopped the car, pulled into the Dunkin' Donuts, got myself, of course, Dunkin' Donuts coffee, and a 6-pack to go of Dunkin' Donuts. And so it's interesting. Was that really my authentic self or not? And so I didn't know you were going to talk about this, because this is the awakening to who we are and to that level of authentic self. Is the authentic me the one that wants to stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning and watch television? So this is really kind of cool that you're coming on and talking about this, because I have to tell you, some days I've had to ask myself, will the real Dr. Pat please stand up? And we were just talking about 2009, and I got to tell you, when I would ask myself that question, I'd be like, oh my OMG, who is that in the mirror?
You didn't recognize yourself?
I didn't. But let me introduce you, because I do recognize you.
Oh, good.
Dr. Friedemann is one of the most amazing, transformative coaches, spiritual leaders, breakthrough program facilitator, you name it. He helps people from all over the world break through to understand how you can live a most incredible life. He's a founder of Cellular Wisdom, and you can go to cellularwisdom.com. This is a personal breakthrough and empowerment program. If you look at his bio, you'll go back and you'll see that his beginnings, like most of us, started in probably kind of an unusual place, and how he made a transition from conventional medicine to be an expert around personal breakthrough and an expert around energy psychology and medical hypnotherapy and timeline therapy. And oh my gosh, and his background in medicine and science has helped him. Everything he's done has created an incredible platform so he can help other people become self-empowered. And this is why I love talking with him, whether it's anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, chronic pain, smoking, drinking, whatever it is you got going on, the Dunkin' Donut syndrome, he's going to be able to help you. But I will tell you, today's show is really cool. Today's show is about awakening to your authentic self. So I'm ready to be schooled.
Well, I think actually with the Dunkin' Donuts, you channel Stephanie Ivanovich, or Stephanie Plum from Janet Ivanovich, because isn't that like what you do in the East Side? I mean, on the East Coast, like, going to Dunkin' Donuts,
yes,
eating them in the morning. I mean, that's just, you channel a part of you that had to come out in this moment. I don't think it's all of you. And I don't think there is one authentic self, like one suit you wear and you said, oh, that's me. It's like lots of different facets and aspects of ourself. But I think the authentic self will tell you when you eat the fifth donut, I contract. That's not really healthy. That doesn't feel really good. The first donut, the first bite may feel like, oh, bliss, and it may open you up.
Because you actually dunk the Dunkin' Donuts. And so it's that ritual.
Right. And that may, and again, I don't think that being the authentic self means that you always have to be the most, healthy and holistic self. Sometimes it just means also to do something that is not, so basically, what you should be doing, but really what you want to be doing. Because, look at us. We are such a functioning nation. All the time we are just working and we are following obligations and we are trying to do this and being healthy. And I talked to a friend the other day. He went through bankruptcy. He had really a very hard time over the years. And finally, things turn around for him. He makes, actually a good money, a good income. But rather than saying, you know what, I'm going to give me a break and I'm just going to, expand a little bit, enjoy life a little bit. Now he puts himself in a very regiment and rigid meditation practice, which basically, again, puts him into I have to, I should, and not to, okay, what do I really want? And I think when you look at the authentic self, it's really about asking the question, what do I, from my core, from my heart, really want? And what do I really want to express in this world?
Yeah.
And that's really what it's about. And so that's why I love this whole, happening in Egypt right now. Because that's what the people at the Tahrir Square really ask. What do we want as a nation? How do we want to express ourselves? What do we want to have as a voice that we never had? And all these kind of questions, I think, are really reflections back to us individually, where we have to ask ourselves, is it time for us to stand up for ourselves? Is it time for us to demonstrate and say, we have to have a voice. We need to actually express ourselves. We have basic rights and needs that are taken away, that we are allowing to be taken away. Not necessarily by, the government or any kind of, company. It's like how we do it.
I agree.
We are actually giving those rights and those needs away ourselves. And there are very common excuses we're using, we're going to talk about later, but I think we should be inspired about Egypt. We shouldn't look at Egypt as, oh my God, that's like turmoil, that's chaos, what's going to happen, and all this fear, of course, comes up, and we have been called naive for this perception that this is a very powerful shift of consciousness right now.
I want to give a shout out to the boomers right now, the baby boomers. I'm a boomer.
All right.
You're not a boomer. I want to give a shout out to the boomers. It's interesting that you, who are not part of this generation, are bringing this conversation to the table today. Because I want to give a shout out. It's so interesting you're bringing up Egypt, because I was sitting around having a little something, coffee, a little drink with some friends, right?
Yeah.
And the whole Egypt conversation came up, or protest. And, I had to listen to it because, again, who is the authentic me? How do I feel about this, right? What's the party line that maybe I've learned, but what do I really feel? And where I came from was, and honestly, the conversation was really heated, and I started to cry. And I think I started to cry because I remember, Dr. Friedemann, I remember the marches on Washington that I participated in. I remember the marches in San Francisco that I participated in. I remember people so close to each other in crowds that you couldn't walk or see ahead of you because that's how many people were there. I remember the feeling of what we were there to say. I remember the protests in the workplace. You know, when something came up, you know, when we went through a movement that said, you know, you can't tell a dirty joke in front of me anymore.
Right.
Right? You know, you can't put that picture in your locker room anymore. Yes, we do want health care benefits in this company. And by the way, a pension and all of these other things. And you know what? We think we should be promoted. So I remember those kinds of things. But I didn't remember how I forgot them.
And that's important. To remember now.
Right, remember now. But I didn't remember, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, one of the things that really I think is so fascinating about this movement in Egypt, that it's different than other, you know, revolutions. Or
how do you see it? How are you seeing it?
Well, I see that there is just a very, very peaceful movement to change that what has been suppressing a whole nation for decades. And, you know, we go to Egypt every year. And so we had kind of the finger and the pulse of what people are thinking. And over the years, we noticed that there were more and more, you know, feelings against the government. But then it was this one person. I mean, think about it. This one person in Tunisia who set himself on fire, who basically set this entire movement on fire, who ignited all this potential of we are no longer taking it, and brought it not into a place where people killed each other. Now, keep in mind, this violence was not coming from the protesters that really wanted to change. I mean, this came from another pro-government movement who basically, you know...
But didn't we go through the same thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, and we'll talk about this when we come back. But how does all of this help us with the shift of consciousness? How does this really get us to the place where we can even ask ourselves, you know, who am I? And how am I going to show up in the world? I so love what Dr. Friedemann Schaub is talking about today. And also, I want to make sure you know that we have a toll-free number and an instant feedback mechanism. And I want to make sure you get your questions on air today, even if you don't want to come on. 1-800-930-2819, 1-800-930-2819. Or go to drpatlive.com. That's our website, thedrpatshow.com. And we have an instant feedback mechanism. You can send us a question or comment. Stay tuned. When we come back, what is the authentic self with Dr. Friedemann Schaub?
Women wave your pantyhose, sing the chorus, and it goes. I'm Slim Shady, yes, I'm the real Shady. All you other Slim Shadys are just imitating. So won't the real Slim Shady please stand up? Please stand up. Please stand up. 'Cause I'm Slim Shady, yes, I'm the real Shady.
Remember, for our dogs and cats to live long and happy lives, just like people, they are what they eat. Wellness carefully selects wholesome ingredients to create food you can trust to provide the foundation of your pet's well-being. True wellness means every ingredient has a purpose in every recipe they make. You can trust the quality of all ingredients in wellness from their source to your pet's bowl. Visit wellnesspetfood.com to find a pet specialty retailer near you. Wellness natural food for pets. This is where true wellness begins.
Psychic Dougal Fraser, the queer guy with a third eye, one of the country's most popular psychics, joins Transformation Talk Radio with a call-in advice show that will provide insights and information on creating your best life. You've seen him on The Real Housewives of Orange County, Dancing with the Stars, and so much more. From gurus to gossip, meditation to martinis, the Dougal Fraser Show will both inspire and crack you up with laughter. Tune in every Tuesday at 10. It's the Dougal Fraser Show.
Are you tired of using skincare products full of unpronounceable chemicals? Do you eat ramen by candlelight to support your expensive candle burning habits? Well, come on down to Zenith Supplies. We have everything you need to make your own soap, candles, creams, and much more. We're open from 10 to 6, 7 days a week. Come explore our store at the corner of 63rd and Roosevelt, just north of the U District in Seattle. Call us at 206-525-7997. Find recipes and more at zenithsupplies.com.
Are you feeling stuck? Do you want to be free from fears and doubts and finally feel good about yourself, but you just don't know how to get there? Dr. Schaub's Accelerated Breakthrough Program provides you with the tools and solutions to go beyond your limitations and achieve self-empowered confidence. Call for your free phone consultation at 866-903-MIND. Visit cellularwisdom.com. That's cellularwisdom.com.
Have you ever made a New Year's resolution to lose weight only to lose your resolve before the end of January? Hi, I'm Dr. Pat, and I would love to introduce you to my friend Dr. Ann Taylor. She'd like to share a program that is not based on what you eat, but rather what you feel. Many people eat in response to stress in their lives, often without being aware how their emotions are affecting their eating patterns. So stop emotional eating in a 5-step system of scientifically proven tools that help you change your response to stress and stress-induced eating. This program helps you find the missing X factor in weight management with one-on-one coaching sessions with Dr. Ann. It won't be long before you feel improved well-being, increased stamina, and more personal balance. Keys for long-term results. In a heartbeat, you can change the way you feel in a truly fulfilling way, a way that food cannot. Call 360-507-9140 to schedule a free 15-minute consultation with Dr. Ann. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Dr. Friedemann Schaub is here. This is a very important conversation, and I was sharing something with him during the break about personal experience I had. And we'll get to that, but I think it's important for us to really take a look at how each of us is either awakening or not, and what does it look like. You know, I don't know, Dr. Friedemann, if I am aware of moments in time in my life that I've had an awakening moment, right? And I was sharing a story with you, and I was sharing a story. We were talking about the protests in Egypt, and I was around a table of people, and I was just listening to, you know, some people that were saying they shouldn't protest, it's violent. Of course, you know, people that the trips to Egypt have been canceled, right? And so and so I was reminded of where I came from as a teenager and then later on in life, and the protests that I attended, walking with Gloria Steinem and some of those other folks. And, you know, we make jokes about burning the bra, but honestly, ladies, take a look at your paycheck. You know what? It's like more in line with what you should be getting. We're not there yet. And it's because of this, right? Right. Peaceful protest, whether it was about, and you know, there was some things that were not peaceful. There were groups, like you mentioned, right, that were violent. Sure.
You know, and I think this is something where, when you said it in the breaks, that it gets demonized, that, you know, easily, you know, it's like this, the, you know, Muslim Brotherhood and so on. And everybody gets afraid of, well, what if this is all Al-Qaeda driven? And it's, you know, unfortunately just total distorted, and it's not really looked at, okay, what's really going on in Egypt? But this radio show is really about your personal inner revolution, your inner waking up to yourself. It's not about making political changes. It's not about making radical changes, leaving your job, leaving your family. It's about notice when you're not authentic. Notice when you are in a place where you make basically compromises, when your whole life is one huge compromise, and you're tolerating and you're keeping on going, and you're postponing yourself, you're postponing your dreams. That's what I'm talking about, not being authentic. I had, you know, a client the other day who had a physical manifestation. She feels physically as a way of, you know, heartburn, of pain in her chest when she is not her authentic self. And as soon as she talks about, with a good friend, about her dreams, about, you know, something that she really is interested in, her wild and crazy ideas, the entire symptomology disappears. And she really knows this is just a contraction that happens on a physical level that is basically run by my emotions of fear. And if I let go of the fear, then also those symptoms disappear. So I just invite all the listeners to wonder, is there a inner voice that wants to be heard? Is there something inside of you that says, I'm really done with this. I don't like the way my life is going. I feel contracted. I feel trapped. I feel like I want to escape. And you just numb that voice out. Numbing it out with keeping yourself too busy. Numbing yourself out with watching and vegging out, watching TV, eating too much. All these kind of things we are doing. You know, in the ancient Rome, they say panem and circensum, which, you know, means bread and games. That's how you keep the people down. That's how you keep them asleep. In some ways, when you look at our lives, how do we do it? We eat and we watch games. Do we really listen to ourselves? Are we really paying attention to that inner voice? And that's this inner change of consciousness I think so many people are going through right now. And I would say 90% of the people I'm working with are coming exactly with that question. I feel stuck in my circumstances and something inside of me wants to break out.
Right.
I just don't know what holds me back.
Right. And, you know, it's exactly. And someone that I don't know if you heard the last hour of the show, but I talked about 2009 and it was a tough year for me, you know, more so than I probably even admitted. But it was such a year of growth and knowing that I was on an accelerated path. I didn't know it then. Mm-hmm. Because you know how you know you're on an accelerated path? When not one aspect of your life shows up as a challenge, when they all do. Right. Right? You go around the circle of life. Your career, your money, your relationship, your spirituality, and your health. And that is a cocktail that you can avoid. But, you know, some of us have that kind of awakening. But the question, I think, is one that you alluded to before, and that is knowing that there is an awakening. See, you know, if you're stuck, and I know about being stuck, believe me, but if you know that you can awake from that and then change your life, that gives us hope. And I think we've gone through a period where hope became a 4-letter word. That's true. And I think especially when, you know, we gave ourselves the message of we have to be realistic and, you know, we cannot just be dreamers or we are, you know, just naive when we are not you know, doing what we have to do. And then again, the postponement happened. But I think what you said in regards to 2009 is very interesting because when this happens, where everything kind of falls apart and you feel like, wow, everything is changing at the same time. If you would really go backwards and rewind the movie of your life and you would look at, okay, were there actually signs already in 2008, 2007? Oh, totally. Was there something that I was not listening to and just keep on going? And that's what most people experience, you know, so I think this kind of change and awakening doesn't have to be that dramatic. It doesn't have to rock your world upside down. What it can be is actually a more gradual process. And this is how I was lucky to actually shift and awaken from this Western medicine background I had into what I'm doing now. There was a point, and it reminds me again of one of the demonstrators in Egypt who said, after he was asked, so why now? You know, after all these years, why now? And he said, we don't have fear anymore because we really don't have anything to lose. And there was for me this moment also where, although I had a wonderful career already laid out, I had all the support from the, you know, university hospital, from the German government. It was basically everything was laid out, but inside of me there was this pain of, okay, I know already what the next 30 years is going to be like. And that value of feeling this is already an entrapment for the next 30 years. I mean, that just realization was bigger and more shocking and more a sense of, okay, I have to get out of here than going with a secure route that was just, you know, basically based on career and, you know, what I could have done with that career. So just knowing that I have to make a change before it's too late, before I'm too entrenched, before it's just, you know, this self-running momentum that I cannot escape or don't feel I can escape. That was, I think, in a lot of ways, a saving grace. And so how do people get to learn about this? And I know that there are 6 steps, and I'd like to begin that. And I know we're going to have a guest come on at the break. But I think we need to know the steps, because certainly I learned that I do not have to recreate 2009. I learned that. I don't have it nailed down completely. But trust me, 2010 and 2011, profoundly different. Right. But there are steps, and I don't think we know the steps. Well, I think the first step is like what you just said. You're sitting there
in this group of people. They talk about Egypt. They talk about all the political situation, and something inside of you starts crying.
I cried. I was crying.
Something inside of you felt deeply touched by a grief and a loss. While you can completely just push it aside and say, well, probably it was a bad dip I had, or, just whatever. No,
Well, they did say that I always cry.
Exactly.
But no, I mean, honestly, cry over protests in Egypt. Why would I do that? But I now know what it was.
Exactly. It was personal. It was about
personal.
you. And that paying attention to that inner, grieving, to those signs, like I said, the little voice that, sometimes says, this doesn't feel right. Or also the symptoms of holding yourself back. One of the most fascinating things is that we don't have a voice. So many times we are holding ourselves back from saying something because we feel, oh, they will not like it, or this is too crazy idea, or maybe like we talked about in another show, the eyebrow is raised and we just, basically become numb and don't say anything. Or we are saying only the things that are politically correct or that are expected or that appear fun, that appear, upbeat. And that's all betraying ourselves from the authentic self.
How about our words don't match our actions?
Absolutely.
And this is one of the things that has come up for me recently. If you and I or anyone is saying the lesson I'm learning is to speak my truth, right? This is big for me. The lesson I'm learning is to speak my truth. Yet, we agree to keep secrets. It's a disconnect.
Right.
I mean, isn't it? So, but this is what we hear at the macro level. We're telling you the truth, but we're not going to really tell you.
Right.
So, but we collude with this, and then it becomes part of how we live.
Yeah.
So all of us want to be in truth. We want to be in that place of truth. And yet, how do we get to shed the secrets that would cause us not to be awakened to our authentic self? Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Dr. Friedemann Chow, he's going to answer that question for us. And then we have a guest joining us as well. We'll be right back.
Disease, one of the most dreaded words in our vocabulary. Hi, I'm Mary Jane Mack. Did you know traditionally we have viewed disease as a degenerative process? Disease is better understood when we view it as dis-ease in the human body. Dis-ease means without ease. Health is not merely the absence of disease. It's when every part of the body works together effortlessly, relaxed and at ease. It's that relaxed state that lets energy flow in waves through and around the entire body. Every organ has an electrical charge, and when overcharged or undercharged, dis-ease occurs. And it is an effort to go through our day. With CRA, we are able to determine the exact dis-ease of the body and design a specific solution to correct the nutritional imbalance. Contact us at 888-777-4232. That's 888-777-4232. And visit us at maryjanemack.com.
Welcome to Rubenesque Yoga. We offer yoga classes at retreats that focus on relaxation and rejuvenation. You do not need to be a marathon runner or bend like a pretzel to attend our classes. Rubenesque Yoga's retreats are held at the beautiful Wild Iris Inn located in Lacana, Washington, where you will enjoy a weekend of relaxation, yoga, and shopping. Please visit yogaforplussizes.com for more information. That's yogaforplussizes.com.
Meet Kevin.
I was 60 pounds heavier than I am now. I was at 35% body fat. I was depressed. I was miserable.
Then Kevin consulted Seattle nutritionist Bev Kinblade, who made some adjustments in his diet.
It wasn't some fad diet. It was solid nutrition. My metabolism improved drastically. My energy shot up. My self-confidence, self-esteem. It was life-changing.
Find out about a free 30-minute nutrition appointment with Bev Kinblade at seattlenutrition.com. seattlenutrition.com.
Reclaiming Your Fearless Nature with Annette Bingham is about giving you the encouragement and tools to explore who you truly are and then to fearlessly move towards reclaiming it. This program will empower you to become proactive in your own journey to power. On the show, we will be exploring any tool that will help you take back control of your wellness. Topics might include all types of energy work, vibrational healing techniques, connecting with nature, body work, and much more. Tune in each Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time to reclaim your fearless nature with Annette Bingham. That's Tuesday at 5 p.m. right here on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Walk like an Egyptian.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the Dr. Pat Show. Dr. Friedemann Schaub is in the house. I want to make sure you have his information. Here's what I want to say about it. If you go to cellularwisdom.com, you're going to find lots of information. But what you all should know is that he works with clients nationally and internationally over the phone and Skype. And so if you call him, you will be eligible to a free telephone consultation. You know, if you are not living your authentic self and you're thinking, how am I going to do that? You want to give him a call. And he's been doing this since first time he showed up on the show. The phone number to call if you want to schedule a free telephone consultation with him is 866-903-MIND, M-I-N-D. That's 866-903-6463. And have a chat with them because the time is now. Also, we have an announcement about a 3-part teleseminar, Breakthrough Fear and Anxiety. We're going to tell you about that. We have someone special joining us and going to chime in the conversation, and you'll hear a little bit about who Julie Hart is in a minute. And I think the way that I like to bring Julie on is by getting to the question.
Right.
The dilemma. The misalignment.
So the question,
to be in the truth, to have the voice, and yet we're silent because there's a secret going on. There's something going on that prevents us from taking that step forward. You know, we see things that we don't want to happen in our lives, but we let them happen.
See, I think in a lot of ways we have to do this stepwise. We cannot really necessarily expect that we have a voice and an opinion and speak up in every area of our lives that's not
right.
working. I mean, we could, but it would certainly bring up a huge wall of fear. So what if you consider yourself as you awaken also like you awaken in the morning? So you're not like going out of bed, running right away, like crazy, or you're, jumping right into work. There is a process of awakening that takes a little time. So I invite you to limit right now your awakening, your voice, your truth to the areas that are really about your most closest and most dearest people in your life. That means when you feel that you have a close friend, but somehow you are holding yourself back from being authentic in that relationship, in that friendship, make a change there. Notice the excuses, notice the fears, notice the assumptions you're making about this friend. Oh, she may not like it. Oh, he will just feel like I'm crazy. And really get beyond those. Just make a stand and really have, in that very safe environment, a voice and speak up and express yourself. And notice what happens. 99% of the cases you will notice this is actually very well received, and it will be that spark that helps them also to be more authentic. I have countless people who told me that their relationships improved, deepened, and became more meaningful because one started to be more authentic and speak up and be real. Real meaning like who they really are, and then the others followed.
Mm. Well, let's introduce Julie for a minute. Julie Hart is joining us here today. She is the... well, let's just say she's creating an incredible teleseminar that is about awakening with the masters. And she's joining us here today. And actually, Dr. Friedemann Schaub is one of those masters. And so we want to introduce you to Julie. Why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about Julie?
Well, Julie, you had an interesting story on how you actually became or had this inspiration to create Awakening with the Masters. Can you share that?
Yes, and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, and I really appreciate the opportunity to be here on the show with you. I'm really inspired and honored. The show has been, I think, a lifetime in development, whether I knew it or not, because just briefly, I started out in this lifetime as a very, very sensitive and timid child, afraid of speaking out, and felt invisible most of my young life. And through the course of feeling there was something wrong with me, have been through numerous challenges, but also lots and lots of desire to go through personal development. And just about a year ago, went through some very difficult challenges with my career. I was just in a typical, very traditional sales position that began to crumble before my eyes. I think a lot of people can relate to that right now. And I resisted and pounded my head against the wall so long trying to make it work, to the point where the pain got so bad, it just became unbearable. I finally surrendered and threw my arms in the air and said, okay, if this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing, then what am I supposed to be doing? And just some real interesting, beautiful, synchronistic experiences and following my inner instincts led me to a gentleman who has been step by step helping me develop this theory. And ironically, it's given me a voice that all my life I have felt I did not have the worthiness to have. And it's been a process, like Dr. Schaub was just sharing. It's been an enormous learning process of awakening and opening and finding that true empowerment. And that's what we wish to share with all of these wonderful 37 experts that will be a part of this, including Dr. Schaub, is to help us all find that inner knowing that we are worthy.
Now, when is this going to happen, and how can people find out more about it?
Well, I'm very excited because tomorrow is our opening kickoff interview. It begins tomorrow evening at 5 p.m. Pacific time, and it's really easy to register, and all of the calls are free. You can listen to all of the interviews and gather so many wonderful insights and tools and beneficial perspectives. But just by going to a special link that we've put together, which is www.awakeningwiththemasters.com/Dr. Schaub, which is DrSchaub.
So let's talk about why now. And let's talk about why now for this level of awakening. And you probably didn't hear my Dunkin' Donut story, and I won't bring it up again. But, it's, profound moments of awakening, realizing what they are. And certainly there were some other steps we were going to talk about, Dr. Friedemann, as well. These profound moments of awakening and how they happen for you, Julie, but how we get to remember and see what they are, when they are, and what we need to do. I mean, because, all right, I got an insight today. Is there anything I'm supposed to do with that?
Well, Dr. Schaub, I don't know if you'd like to answer this, but I can answer really briefly.
Sure.
Go for it.
What I have come to know inside myself and what I've always been a little bit afraid to trust, but now the more I exercise this muscle, the more I know it's real, is when you have that instinct is to ask the question, what is the message here? What is the hidden gift here? What am I supposed to be gathering about this instinct? And if we do quiet our chatter in our rational minds long enough, we will hear answers.
Well, and I think that's exactly what I said about this listening to this inner voice. I mean, there are many voices that can occur at the same time in our minds, and one of the voices is the voice that is more about, well, let's stay put. Let's not, create waves. Let's not get out of the comfort zone. So that's more a voice of fear, and that's a voice also of, like you said, that you didn't have a voice, and there was a reason why you didn't have a voice, which was probably more insecurity and anxiety. So there is that voice. And then there is the other voice that says, naturally, we as human beings, we as just creations that have the right and have the natural desire to be as big as we can be, we need to expand more. We cannot just make ourselves like a little sleeping bag pushed into into this little bag that doesn't fit us anymore. One person I remember came with us to Egypt, and she really found in Egypt on our transformational journey her authentic voice and herself. And when she came back, she felt all this pressure from the outside, and she felt like the genie out of the bottle. She felt big, she felt wonderful, And she couldn't just go back into this bottle. So being aware of that voice, like you said, also may mean that you have to throw your hands in the air and say, okay, this is no longer working. So what can I do now? And I think what we need to realize is, and that's, one of those second steps. So the first step was about listening to the inner voice. The second step is really just being aware in which area you are not in alignment with yourself. And this may be most areas. Like you, Julie, you didn't feel in alignment with your sales position. It wasn't really what you were supposed to do. But there probably were other areas in your life where you also didn't feel in alignment with yourself. And just really getting an inventory, understanding where do I live outside of my values, outside of my beliefs. Where do I feel like the most contracted, the most, in a lot of ways, my smaller self running my life? And then the next step is then certainly to ask yourself, what is that based upon? What is the story? What are the beliefs that are holding me back? What am I telling myself? Now, with Julie, your teleseminar series certainly has a lot of people that give the listeners tools and also very concrete ways to not only listen but also then take that voice into action.
Absolutely. It's very experiential, and there's an enormous number of different tools that everyone can reach into their toolbox of awakening and access what fits them and what resonates best with them.
Julie, both of you, I want to ask you about this because, there's this thing I call the gap, and it's not the store that you go buy like your shirt and stuff from. There's this thing I call the gap, and I would like both of you, when we come back from break, to talk about this and what people are going to learn in the series. Here's the gap that has literally brought me to my knees in my life. It's the gap between when you get that awakening moment, that, aha moment. So it's that moment where you get, dang, I'm not being my authentic self, or, I don't know, whatever that is.
That's a wake-up moment.
That's a wake-up moment. Thank you. Now, there's the next moment where you do something about it. So what I've discovered in my own life is there's that aha moment, and then there's something I have to do, and I don't do it. The pain of staying the same becomes greater than the pain of change. Okay? So how do we get ourselves so we do not have to spend decades in that gap? Yeah, I got the people who are going to tell us about that. Julie Hart, Dr. Friedemann Schaub. We'll be right back.
Come on now.
The 19th Annual Women of Wisdom Conference is February 17th through the 21st. Our theme is Women Arise, Unveil the Power of the Divine Feminine. Special guests are Susan Weed, Carolyn Sutherland, and many others, sharing their gifts through experiential events all weekend long. Join our email list at womenofwisdom.org and watch for announcements about the conference. That's womenofwisdom.org.
Do you dream of being on The Amazing Race? Well, here's your chance. Grab a friend and prepare for an exhilarating race around the city when City Solve Urban Race comes to your city. Teams of 2 will solve clues and face fun challenges while racing around the city. The winning team gets $300 and a chance to be in the Las Vegas Championship race to compete for a grand prize of $5,000. Not only will you have a ton of fun, you'll also be helping a good cause. A portion of the proceeds will benefit a local charity. To start racing, go to CitySolveUrbanRace.com.
Are you tired of hanging on to things in your life that hold you back? Get ready to reclaim your fearless nature with Annette Bingham. Annette has been a catalyst for helping people achieve maximum results. Known for her breakthrough approaches, she will assist you to unleash your true power. Her unique distance healing techniques have been empowering people globally. Get ready for a life-changing event to step into your fearless nature. For more information, visit AnnetteBingham.com or call 432-770-1414. 888-866-4062.
Are you taking too many oral pain pills and concerned about side effects? Are you having trouble getting to sleep because of the pain? Well, I'm Lou Paradise. I had the same problems you have. Cured my pain, eliminated pain pills and their side effects by developing Topricin, pain relief and healing cream. Topricin relieves pain without side effects. It doesn't burn, it doesn't smell, and it doesn't stain. But don't just take my word for it. Doctors, pharmacists, and pain specialists are using and recommending Topricin and ending the suffering for thousands of people just like you. We know you're hurt. We want to help. We're so sure Topricin will work for you, we offer a money-back guarantee. So if you want pain relief with no side effects, ask for Topricin or call 1-800-959-1007. That's 1-800-959-1007. Topricin, the last pain medicine you'll ever need, and you can sleep on that.
Now is the perfect time to learn Tai Chi and Qigong. These ancient Chinese healing arts, also called mind-body practice, are simple to learn, clinically proven to be effective, and can be practiced by anyone, anywhere, at any time. For 10 years, the Institute of Integral Qigong and Tai Chi has been a respected leader in mind-body practice training. Visit iiqtc.org. Empower yourself, empower others. Visit iiqtc.org for more information on mind-body practice. iiqtc.org.
Do you ever get so frazzled you find it difficult to function? Many people are experiencing more stress and fear than ever. When we react from this place of fear and stress, we end up damaging relationships and creating more grief in our lives. Lynette McKenzie has a solution for you. The Energy Emergency Toolkit. 10 easy tools to go from frazzled to fantastic in 5 minutes. Visit openlivenow.com and download your free Energy Emergency Toolkit and go from frazzled to fantastic now.
Welcome back, everyone. For more information about the Dr. Pat Show, go to drpatlive.com. For more information about becoming a Pay It Forward Angel, very simple. Go to calltoconnection.com, sign up, tell a friend. Thousands of dollars worth of gifts and prizes we're going to begin to give away starting next week. Huge campaign. Giving for the sake of giving. There's nothing for you to buy at all. Calltoconnection.com. And, let's talk about, stepping up and seeing how to become your authentic self. I want to talk about the gap, and I'd like each of you to address this, but also, as you do, let folks know more about the series and also more about your work. I mean, I gave you an example, Dr. Friedemann, of this thing I call the gap. I don't know what else to call it, but it's that moment in time where I could see a pattern in my life where I've been there. Crust busting was born out of a place in my life where I so crusted over. That's the metaphor I came up with for another gap moment.
And I think these gaps, can be this comfort zone that we just still hold on to. And that, like you said, when the pain of being in the comfort zone is bigger than the pain of potentially losing what we are attached to, then we really close that gap. Then we are actually ready to make a jump. And I think awareness is a really important part of it. And as I said before, we can usually stay longer in the gap the more we are asleep, the more we are numbing out. And when we are just aware of the price we are paying for being in that gap and that price of making excuses and being in denial, then I think we don't have to wait until everything is crumbling around us. We can make already changes. And, the truth is, if you really ask people who have closed the gap, who really were wakening up, who really have a voice and followed their heart, you will hear that 99% of the people will tell you it was absolutely worth it.
Absolutely.
That's exactly,
I will tell you that. I will absolutely tell you that.
And so if somebody is already on the other side and can tell you this is really worth it, it may not always be easy. It may involve that you actually have to work. It may actually mean that you have to let go of the things that you hold on to so tightly. But what you gain is so much more.
Enormous.
Then you actually realize, well, maybe that risk is actually not that great. But if you ask the people who didn't close the gap, and you look at the people who haven't made that jump, then you will see these are the people who usually are also in bad physical state, who are disappointed with life, who are sad, who are resentful, regretful. That's the price, the ultimate price you pay if you are in denial to your authentic self. And that's a guarantee as well. So you can already pretty much look ahead and say, okay, what's in stake for me? What can I really gain from being my authentic self? And it's always fear. So that's why I'm such a proponent of learning how to work with fear, overcoming fear, not by ignoring it, but really growing from it, using it as a potential. And so I have this personal breakthrough program, which certainly helps people to overcome fear and find their true self. But there's also a teleseminar series that's called Breakthrough Fear and Anxiety. It's a 3-part series, starts 24th of March. You can sign up on the website. It's for a fraction of what you would have to pay for individual sessions. So if you really just want to work from the comfort on your own home and break through fear and anxiety, that may be a really great option. And of course...
And where can they go to find out more about that?
Just go to cellularwisdom.com. It's right on the homepage. Click on it, and you'll find how to get started.
Excellent. And Julie, let's talk about you, because the same question about the gap. And, I know you've put together the Awakening with the Masters teleseries, and certainly we want to let people know how to do that. But, what is your perspective on this thing that's called the gap? The reason I love talking with somebody like you, Julie, is usually there's a story behind something as enormous as what you've created. There's usually a personal story, something personal. I would bet money that you know what the gap is.
Well, I do have my own story, my own list of stories regarding the pain that I have experienced by not taking action when I have felt the impulse to do so, and I've let fear or my ego or being afraid of failing or anyone else's opinion of me keep me from being true to who I am and moving forward. And what I'm learning from all these wonderful Masters of Awakening is, to me, the gap is now a moment of conscious choice. That we're stepping from what I'm learning. Again, this is coming from people that I'm just incredibly impressed with. They're just so aware and educated and just so amazing. Their awareness about what the paradigm that we're shifting from and that we're moving into right now actually offers us a moment to pause and a moment to make a choice to respond from love versus reacting automatically and reflex from fear or ego. So I love the fact that there's a gap and that we can become aware of it, number one, because that gives us a moment to pause. And yes, it does take courage. It takes major courage to move forward through the gap and actually take action. And that's where I believe the help that people like Dr. Schaub and the other wonderful 36 other speakers during the series, they offer amazing inspiration and empowerment and tools and support, because they've all been through this whole awakening process too. They've been scared, and they have found their inner power, and they have not only moved themselves into a place of empowerment, now they're reaching back and helping the rest of us to do so. And I'm in the bleachers just like the rest of you. I am just in the beginning stages of really finding my inner power, and I am so excited by what is revealing and what's unfolding. So I really encourage as many of you as feel impelled to do so to take action and actually sign up and register for the free series and see where it leads you.
Let's give out that website again, because this is important for people to do that.
Sure. It's www.awakeningwiththemasters.com / Dr. Schaub, DrSchaub.
And this is the thing I want to say about this. First of all, let me thank both of you for joining me here today. I didn't understand that I didn't have to go through what I went through alone, right? I didn't necessarily have to come on air and talk about it. That was not going to happen. I'm talking about it. I'm actually going to be doing a series about this, my healing journey. But I didn't realize that there were other people I could do this with until later on. And I think that's why 2010 was so important, is, it was important for me to build a team and to bring people into my life that I could share things with. You all have created something brilliant. I mean, the folks listening to this show, all of you out there that either are in the gap or maybe you haven't had an awakening moment, You do not have to take this journey alone. I think this is a very powerful message today. Wouldn't you both agree?
I think that's very important because, especially when we think about that what is inside of us that had been pushed down by fears and had been pushed down by old limiting beliefs and insecurities. Often we are only looking in the mirror and see those beliefs and those fears and those attachments, and we need somebody to help us to remove those distortions, to be able to really go into the depths of the subconscious where this is all stored and peel off the layers. And it's possible to do it on your own, but it's certainly way more easy and also way faster if you have somebody who has been going through something like this and can give you a new perspective on yourself.
And also, Julie putting the masters together.
Absolutely.
I mean, that is a way that has become so available to people across the globe now.
And it's free, and that's what I really love about the mission that Julie has been doing.
I just signed up. Thank you, Julie. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Friedemann Chaub.
Thank you.
I can't wait. I always love doing these shows. I never know what's going to show up, and look what showed up today. My authentic self. Stay tuned, everybody. Lots more to come here at the network. We'll be right back.